Going the extra mile should be praised extra, not the default. Shocking unpopular opinions of Reddit. Listening to an audiobook is not the same as reading. Too often, people who brag about reading 200 to 300 books a year are actually just listening to audiobooks for the most part. They then get offended when confronted with the fact that listening to an audiobook is not the same as reading. Listening to someone read a book for you is not the same as reading it yourself. Reading requires an active involvement on your part. Listening is something passive that can be done while doing other things. It's like arguing that a toddler who gets read a book by his mother did indeed read it, which is absurd. Cruises are an ecological disaster of overconsumption and pollution and should be limited or even banned. We are in the year 2022 and we are in the middle of a climate and resources crisis. We thought it would be fun to put giant floating cities in motion as a useless tourist attraction that makes a loop and then returns to its starting point. The fact is that 100 companies are responsible for 71% of global emissions. The concept of a carbon footprint was invented by the petroleum industry to blame individuals for their massive corporate polluting. It worked and successfully shifted the blame. Yes, we should all bike and take public transport. No, that individual actions are practically meaningless compared to giant corporations. Not everything you enjoy is necessarily good. I tell people what my favorite movie is and they go, "No, it wasn't that good," and start explaining its flaws to me. Guess what? I know it's not a masterpiece. Never said it was. But I like it. I enjoy watching it. Stop shaming people for the things they enjoy or try to talk them into believing it's bad. Same goes for music, video games, food, everything really. Stop making a competition out of it. Somebody replied, "As a fan of reality TV, I support this message. I love dramas. When I say so, I get, oh hell no. I deal with enough already. The world has enough drama already. Don't you think? Like no. It's not my drama and it's fake and riveting to watch, like, so?" People are cruel to ugly and awkward people, and everyone pretends they aren't. It's just crazy to me seeing men and women both get upset about how beauty standards are used against them and how the other is so cruel and disgusting for only caring about looks. If some guy or girl walks in who is ugly or awkward, men or women, doesn't matter, every single person there will distance themselves. They will often be polite but no one will jump to be friendly and many will make moves to shut down any attempts by the person to be friendly. Yeah, there are people who befriend these people if they get to know them, but even if they do, they will still react with the same apprehension when they encounter a different ugly awkward person. What's even more disgusting is that people will be all friendly and polite to that person's face. They don't want to appear rude or mean-spirited, but then turn around and talk absolute shit about them when they leave or they are in private company. Ugly, but not the worst if it's a random interaction. But when it's a co-worker or a dorm mate or someone you see regularly, then this person will be regularly excluded and treated politely but coldly, and will never understand why people just don't respond to all their attempts to be friendly and make connections. All the while, everyone is just trashing that person to each other when they aren't around. All this disgusting behavior, also they don't appear to be cruel or mean. Honestly, if you are going to be that sort of person, it's better to just let the person know, rather than let them think you are on good terms and waste their time trying to cultivate a friendship. I thought this was mostly just a thing for younger people, but I recently witnessed it among full-grown adults and remembered that adults aren't any different than kids most of the time. It's hard to say if it's fully taught by society and upbringing or if it's even biologically imprinted to some degree. I'm not even saying that it's inherently wrong to treat people nicely because they are attractive. It's the treating people like dirt and with fake friendliness or because they aren't attractive or they have some sort of awkwardness that really bothers me. Especially for the awkward ones because the treatment they receive compounds the problem. Somebody replied, "I'd say it's more about them being awkward than being ugly. Ugly people can still be cool, but when talking to an awkward person, things are always, well, awkward. It's hard to speak and interact with them. The part where they talk shit about them has no excuse though, that's just an asshole thing to do." I would much rather go up against a jury of legal experts than a jury of people like me. I recently attended a symposium regarding the current state of the US justice system. One of the speakers was an individual who had been wrongly convicted and exonerated for a murder that took place a few decades ago. It was absolutely heartbreaking. His jury took less than 4 hours to sentence him to life in prison. One of the main points that stuck with me from his presentation was that he did not blame the jury. The way the prosecutor presented the facts, the way his defense lawyer failed to properly defend him, and the manner in which he was arrested were the main issues that led to his wrongful conviction. If I were to ever be wrongly convicted of a crime, I would never want my trial to go through a jury of my peers. All too often, it seems that a judicial system is set up to disqualify innocence. Instead of proving guilt, I see these as two very different things. Instead of having a jury of your peers, a jury of legal experts would allow another layer of defense to protect the defendant. They could question how the information is presented to them, and I believe could help prevent wrongful convictions that, unfortunately, seem to be all too common in our society. I understand the logistics of this would be a nightmare, and the pool of potential jurors would drastically decrease, but having this as another potential option could help those who are truly being wrongfully committed of a crime, and would be my personal choice in the matter. I like it when my girlfriend is on her period. Now, before I even start, let me just say that I do not wish any pain on anybody. I'm talking about something else. I have had a few girlfriends over the past few years. Naturally, I had spent time with them while they were on their period, and it always was a very comfortable and important experience. For me, I know. I guess I like caring for her. Cuddling under a blanket, me putting my warm hand on her belly, having something nice to eat and watching a film. I also like the idea that my presence eases her pain, at least a little bit. When it comes to being annoying and not wanting to have intimacy, I don't find it hard to relate. How would I behave if I was in constant pain? And it's not like I can't go a week without that. Obviously, it's not like I would want her to be on her period all the time, but in my eyes, it's a time of bonding. It's important that I show her how much I care about her, especially when she is most vulnerable and hurt. I like having the opportunity to do this. Google search is no longer the best search engine. The past 5 to 7 years, Google has changed significantly. Now, page 1 results are almost always full of 4 to 8 ads, and the organic results are almost always blogs spammed with keywords and too much content. There are so many better search engines out there, and the only reason Google still dominates is because they make it impossible for people to switch to another search engine. They own Chrome and pay Apple to make Google the default on Safari. They are a true monopoly and, as a result, have no reason to continue to improve their product. Google sucks. Somebody replied, it's not just Google. Take the so-called privacy browser DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is Bing, which is Microsoft. They've fully and publicly gone back on their no surveillance, no data harvesting, and no unfair content sorting algorithms promises. They've been providing backchannel data to Microsoft for years. DuckDuckGo is literally just Microsoft. The only thing they're providing you is a worse search engine and the illusion of privacy. Their corporate statements on this topic are insulting. Burger King is so underrated. I can honestly say I love Burger King. It's one of my go-to fast food places when I eat fast food every once in a while. They still sell food at a reasonable price. Their chicken nuggets are only like $1 for 10 of them. I know nothing good for you can be as cheap as Burger King is, but I don't care. It's delicious if you go to the right Burger King. I'm not looking for a 5-star meal. I'm looking for tasty, filling, and cheap. Everything else is so overpriced. McDonald's has gotten out of hand. Sodding $11 for a Big Mac meal in my area for a tiny burger, drink, and fries. For $11, I can eat like a king at Burger King. Anytime I eat McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, or Carl's Jr., I get sick. I don't get sick from Burger King. I've had bad experiences with them of course, but they've never gotten me sick. Their burgers have never gone out of style to me. The Whopper is fantastic. Big burger, lots of lettuce, juicy tomato, cheese if you want it, and the right amount of sauce. The onion rings are delicious and the fries are great, better than McDonald's in my opinion. Thick, perfect amount of salt, and perfect texture. I love Burger King fries. When I was living poor, Burger King was always there for a hot meal when I had $5 in my pocket. Anyone who judges you for eating Burger King is a posh dipsy. Live your life and enjoy Burger King. Peace, love, and burgers. I'm out. Lazy people are not as bad for society as workaholics. We are at the point where we do not need to squeeze any more productivity out of the average person. Going the extra mile should be praised extra, not the default. If someone does their job, good. Thanks. If someone goes above and beyond, compensate them extra for it. Thanks. But you don't get to expect more from average Joe because workaholic Jimmy does extra. We need to collectively embrace work-life balance and actually shame workaholics. Somebody replied, I think the divide is that in a toxic work environment, people are pushed to do more than they are required to without getting any compensation. They are, meaning that in some companies, because of the workaholic culture, the preferred choice for career progression is the one that is working more for free. So if you don't want to stay in the same position and actually progress, you have to compromise your work-life balance and work more than you are paid for or overtime. This is exactly why I jumped at the chance to go back to a union non-profit job I used to have and ditch corporate life. I'll never get rich in non-profit, but I will be happy about what I do and feel adequate in doing my job well without bizarre expectations. I actually make significantly more at the non-profit than past corporate jobs, but the chance at a raise is near nil besides cost of living increases. That's a good trade-off for me as I can do my job then not give a shit when I log out. I also get European-style benefits at an American job, 9 weeks paid time off, etc. Well worth it. Eating at restaurants is not a good idea. I would rather just bring food home and eat it at my own leisure. You are paying extra. I would rather come home and eat and grab my own beers and cocktails rather than spending $15 to $20 for them at the restaurant. I would rather put up on a game or some YouTube and just chill instead of eating amongst a bunch of strangers. I'd rather get everyone's meals to go and eat on my back porch or in my dining room. I'll have the drinks that I like at a quarter of the cost. The music, or even lack thereof, will be up to us. I won't have to wait on the wait staff for hot sauce, salt shaker, drink refill, or an extra fork because mine fell on the floor. I tend to like to eat a bit, rest, then come back for more in a bit. I hate the polite banter when I don't finish 90% of a giant plate of food at a restaurant. Yes, the food was great. No, I don't need anything else, I just don't need to take down 1800 calories in a sitting. Using the phrase educate yourself in an argument is just admitting that you're too lazy to prove someone wrong. If you think someone is ignorant on a topic and want to prove them wrong, you should do it. I feel like the phrase is just a new way to call someone stupid and it's become overused. I see it in almost every popular place on the internet. If someone is that stupid, then it shouldn't take more than a Google search and a few minutes of reading to find an article to prove them wrong. Don't be lazy. Go prove people wrong. Get the last laugh. Stop using that generic overused phrase. I also assume that people who tell me to educate myself don't actually know much about what they are talking about. Like if they know so much better than me, why can't they tell me the important facts I should know? Somebody replied, it's less about being lazy and more about being exhausted. I have to explain basic math and physics to people almost daily. It's absolutely exhausting dealing with people who are so lazy all their lives that they're incapable of doing any basics in their life. I'm not trying to waste my limited time on this earth teaching people the importance of things they should have learned as children, and that's just for the simple topics. Also know, what you're describing as proof of fact is the lazy way to do something. It takes far more than a Google search to provide evidence of something. Stop being lazy and go read a damn book. Any advanced topic will involve hours of research, and I guarantee you the lazy bums that think a simple Google search constitutes as proof on a matter, they're not even going to read the damn thing you provide them. They've been lazy in thought all their life, and it's not going to change because you put in more effort to help them. Telling someone to hit the books and go read on a topic, to educate themselves, is not only valid, it's the most time-efficient thing you can do. If they cared enough to read a source you could provide, they'd have put that effort in already. The reality is the majority of people are lazy as hell in thought. I hope you enjoyed these opinions. Check out some more of my other videos and subscribe for new daily content.